What's going on, y'all? Joshua back at it again. And I thought it would be cool to go to the PlayStation page. I heard that there's details about the PlayStation 5 Pro that's not being covered in the video that they dropped. So I thought it'd be cool to just go through the actual page itself. And I also have the PlayStation 5 Pro blog as well, but just to see what else is going on here, right? So yeah, PlayStation 5 Pro, yay. The PSSR that we saw in the video gets super sharp image clarity on your 4K TV using AI enhanced resolution for ultra high definition. Play with astonishing detail. Optimized performance, support for 60 hertz and 120 hertz displays. Again, we could do that on the PlayStation 5, but the difference now, guys, is that you can do it while being at 4K and be at 60 hertz before you have to choose. And it's my understanding that more games will be able to be played at 120 hertz once they get the support for it. Advanced ray tracing and PlayStation 5 Pro enhanced games. There was some game, Until Dawn. I did not see Until Dawn in the showcase in the video. So that leads me to believe that there's more games. I think I counted 13 games that they showed in the showcase that have support for the PlayStation 5 Pro. Currently, that makes it 14. Still a pretty small number. I'm not gonna, front. That's still pretty small. However, I did also hear that there's more games being supported, right? So it's not just the ones that we saw, but a lot more getting support. What quantity that is, I don't know. I hope that they roll out very quickly in a large quantity. I think that this system does need it. The Pro. Yeah, here we go. 60 FPS or up to 120 FPS with 4K output and ray tracing for compatible games. Yeah, guys. Before there was some games that would go up to 120 frames on the PlayStation 5, but not at 4K. Maybe 4K 60 FPS maybe for some, or half K, however they call it, 2K 120 frames per second, or 1080p. I think more often than not 1080p 120 frames per second. Now we're getting 60 FPS or up to 120 FPS for 4K output. Again, we'll have to see the list of games that they have, of games that actually go up to 120 frames per second, as well as having the 4K output as well. But there's a lot of people who play at 144 hertz, 244 hertz, not in 4K. So bear that in mind. More enhancements under the hood. 2 terabytes. Okay, that was not covered. 2 terabytes. That's more value, for sure. I was actually surprised. I'm like, wow, that's really nice that I get more game storage. So I appreciate that. The PlayStation 5 Pro supports enhanced wireless internet capabilities with more usable bandwidth to increase transfer speeds with IEEE 802. I'm not even going to pretend like I know what that means. And Android compatible router, which means you can experience reduced latency and boosted stability when playing online. Cool. Was not covered in the presentation. More value. Awesome. PlayStation 5 Pro game boost and backwards compatibility. PlayStation 5 Pro console can play over 8,500 PS4 games. With the PS5 Pro version of the Game Boost feature, you can enjoy faster and smoother frame rates in some of the PS4 and PS5 console's greatest games. So that's pretty cool. It's just an overall net of previous games, even if they are not directly have a PlayStation 5 Pro version or variant. It will be kind of this catch-all effect, helping them have smoother frame rates and to be faster and all that for PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. But I think it was worth covering. 2 terabytes, faster Wi-Fi connection, overall game boost, going backwards to previous games. It's pretty cool. At least one more game that's being supported, and a promise of more games being supported as well is a pretty nice. Let's go over to the blog and see if they offer any other information. Yeah, so they're upgrading the GPU. That's 67% more compute units than the current PS5 console, 28% faster memory. Overall, this enables up to 45% faster rendering for gameplay, making the experience much smoother. Yeah, I feel like that's a pretty significant bump. some people talk about how they can't see the difference. This is not an insult. It's not a diss. But if you couldn't see the difference between those two, clips when they're putting up different games, that's okay. It just might not be for you. But that's the difference between people who want that 244 hertz refresh rate, super high end PC, $4,000 PC, and people who are good with the budget one of like closer to $1,000, right? There's a difference between people who are happy with a Nintendo Switch, playing their games, Animal Crossing and all that, that's not that graphically intense, right? And people who are playing Call of Duty on some high level and wants, minimum 120 hertz and all that sort of stuff, right? Not all of these things are for everybody. Different people have different wants and needs. It's the same case of some people can get a $50 pair of headphones and be super content. Other people want that. I got some Sony somewhere that I think cost maybe 300 at the time I bought them. Super great, sound quality, super good noise cancellation, some of the best out, if not the best out, like to date, pretty much. Even though being like a couple years old, right? Not everybody needs that higher end, right? And that's fine. It's about what you need. So if you're looking at this and you're like, oh, it's just like a graphics boost, I don't care about that. I can still play my games. Yeah, you can still play your games. You can still play all your games. The PlayStation 5 Pro is probably not going to be one of those systems because it's a half system. It's just a 1.5, right? They aren't going to make games specifically just for the 5 Pro and not for the 5, right? They aren't going to do that. So yeah, you don't got to worry about having to update, to this. This is not for everybody. This is a higher price point for better features than the PlayStation 5. This is definitively better than the base PlayStation 5. But if you do not need it, if you're looking at it and saying, well, even with the discount I would get for trading in my PlayStation 5 or selling it, to somebody else, for $350 maybe, who knows? Even with all that, that would still be, $400, difference. By this, that's not enough of a jump for me, right? That's okay. This is not for everybody. I fully recognize that. But consoles and stuff in general is a luxury, right, guys? Like being able to spend $500 on any hobby to get just kind of started in it, that's a luxury, right? So we're talking about things that are just a luxury at this point. So if you're like, okay, I can afford the $500 one, the $700 one, that's a bit much. That's okay. That's why we have Nintendo Switches. We have slim versions. We have the 5s. We have Pros. We have PCs, low range, mid range, high range. We got, 4K monitors, 1080p monitors, 120 frames, 4K monitors, 120 frames, right? 34 inches, right? That's why we have degrees of this, right? But if you're one of those people who want to get 60, frames per second while having 4K, this does that for you, right? Also, get an extra terabyte of storage, right? Among other things, right? So, advanced ray tracing, even more powerful ray tracing, dynamic reflections. The ray tracing was looking very beautiful, to me. The upscaling, guys, I was able to see the difference in like all the Ratchet and Clank one. I'm sure that won't show very well on YouTube. But even for me, like especially like for people like me who are reacting to it and showing it like kind of secondhand, I would go to the source, go to the video for yourself, and look for the difference. If you have a 720p monitor, you probably won't see the difference as much. But if you got a nice monitor and you're watching it, I think you can see the difference. And again, if you can't, it's just not for you, and that's okay. This is the pro game boost that they're talking about, can apply to 8,500 games. The PS4 playable on the Pro. Stabilize and improve the performance of supported PS4 and PS games. Enhanced image quality for PS4 games is also available to improve resolution on select PlayStation 4 games. Pro will also launch with the latest wireless technology, Wi-Fi 7, guys. Better Wi-Fi connections, that's good. VRR and 8K gaming are also supported. Okay, cool. Yeah, that was not covered. VRR and 8K gaming are also supported. Now it might be 8K at 30 frames per second, but if you're playing a strictly visual game and you don't need fast-paced action or anything, there you go. That's wild. I will say this, guys. Everybody complaining about the $700 price tag. Will I be getting this? Yes. Will I be getting it day one? Maybe not. I might still get it at the price point that it's at. But I'm not gonna sit here, guys, and be like, oh yeah, PlayStation. I'm so unbelievably happy that it's only 700. No, I get it, guys. $700. I get it. I am not a rich man. So yes, I would love it if it was just 500. But as it stands now, I think if you read the blogs, if you read, between these two sources, I think that's enough to justify why there's a $200 difference at the very least. Up to 8K overall boost for all the previous games, Wi-Fi 7, extra terabyte, 45% faster rendering speeds, all that, right, guys? I think there's a justification for $200 difference. Maybe if the PlayStation 5 was like $450 and this was $650, or it was $400 and this was $600. I understand, guys, but yeah, I feel like reading this gives more insight. I think if they would have put more of this stuff into the video, I will say that was a big misstep on their part. They could have very easily have said, hey, PS5 Pro Game Boost. Here's what that is. 2 terabytes. Baseline, right? 2 terabytes. Wi-Fi 7, right? More games than just the ones that they showcased are coming out. These are statements they could have just made. 8K. I already say that. I don't think so. 8K, right? They could have just listed these off. I think people would be... I'll be honest, guys. I think no matter what, people will be mad just because it's 700. If I'm being honest. Again, I get it. I don't just like spending money. But ultimately, I think that there's a justification for a $200 difference. I'm not saying that I love it. I'm not saying I wouldn't want it to be cheaper, guys. But I can see why there's a $200 difference between the two, right? A lot of people don't realize that, like, if you buy like a $1,000 PC, let's say they just get some pretty good deals, maybe some used parts, but still, pretty up to date. But some used parts, you can build a $1,000 PC, and then you buy a $4,000 PC, some of the newest stuff, like a 4090 graphics card and stuff like that. If I don't even know if you can get those for less than $2,000 right now. Your $4,000 PC will not be 4 times as strong as your $1,000 PC. That's not how it works, right? Your $3,000 one won't be 3 times as fast, right? Or 3 times as powerful. It is very much diminishing returns. The difference between like the 4080 graphics card and the 4090, I think the price was like practically like twice as much of a difference. The performance was not close to that. It maybe was like, I'm throwing out a random number. I can't remember from back when I was deep diving into all of it. Maybe like a 10% difference, right? Maybe even 20, right? Who knows? But I don't think so. But the point is that it wasn't twice as high. It wasn't 50% faster, right? You don't get it's not multiplicative, right? So the fact that this is a $200 difference and we're getting 28 or 67% more compute units, 28% faster memory, 45% faster rendering for a $200 difference, $1,000 or not $1,000. What am I saying? 1 terabyte more, Wi-Fi 7, 8K game boost, right? 60 FPS at 40K. Warhammer 40K is on my mind. At 4K, all that. That's a good justification for a for $200 to me, right? But again, like, none of this is necessary, right? None of this is necessary for you to play your games. I'll fully admit, guys, they should have threw the stand in. They should have threw the stand in, guys. 100%. is a little bit of plastic. I don't think it would have made that big of a difference to them. I fully will concede that point for you all. Yeah. I would have liked to have seen maybe even like a discounted like the PlayStation like Pro controller or whatever they call it, but for like $750 between the two. Maybe it's like a slight discount. How much does it cost? Maybe that wouldn't be a discount, but just a discounted cost of that with this bundle or something. I think that would have got people on board. All right, guys. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Yeah, guys. Again, PlayStation 5, 500, right? With all its features. PlayStation 5 Pro, 28% faster memory, 45% faster rendering, better ray tracing, AI driven, upscaling, Wi-Fi 7, extra terabyte of storage, 8K is also supported, 4K at 60 and up to 120, right? I think between all those things, I don't think the $200 difference, I'm talking about just from one price point to the other, $200 separating them doesn't feel that bad. Not saying it couldn't have been 400 and 600, right? 300 for PlayStation 5, way too low. Let's be honest, be way too low. 400, probably too low, but would still be nice. Like realistic, could be semi-realistically nice, guys. But the reality, guys, is that I don't think $200 between these two things is so unbelievable, right? If you add $200 onto whatever your PC is, the difference will be negligible, or at least at higher. Maybe if you go from like 800 to 1,000, you could potentially get the right parts. There's definitely cases where that could make a difference, but I think for all the things you're seeing here, it's not as likely. Not impossible. Anything's possible with PC. You can find all kinds of bargains. You can find, right? Anything's possible. But on a general, but this is guaranteed, right? Every PS5 Pro will have this difference in price and power and capability, right? So I won't say it's impossible on PC, but it's not guaranteed either. Okay, several games will be patched with free software updates for gamers to take advantage of PS5 Pro's features. These games can be identified with the PS5 Pro Enhanced label with their title. Some games you can look forward to, including blockbuster hits from PlayStation Studios, are third parties, such as they did show Until Dawn on the other one. I guess I didn't know that was like The Last of Us Part 2 remastered. I think it was also The Last of Us Part 1 as well. Which, guys, I'm not saying like that's the best thing ever. These are older games, right? I get what people want, more, newer PlayStation 5 kind of exclusive games, but people also complain about like, backwards compatibility. That's something we kind of have to choose. Either you want the just PlayStation 5 games or you want the, PlayStation 4 ones. Like they can't focus on everything. There are real people and teams working to get PlayStation 5 versions of PlayStation 4 games, right? As opposed to just making games just for PlayStation 5. A lot of people complain quite a bit when there's not support for the previous generation. That's kind of out of scope for this video. But they do say and more, okay? Yeah. So it's not, I'm not gonna try to short you guys. This is not a big list of games. I would have liked to see a stronger lineup. I'm surprised that God of War 2018 and Ragnarok aren't on here. That's pretty surprising, or at least Ragnarok. I'm surprised the First Descendant is on. Well, I guess it came out recently, so they probably just planned for this before it was even announced. But yeah, guys, I would definitely have liked to see a list much bigger, but in a way they're kind of is. I mean, the game boost, that's going to generally affect a lot of games wherever that was. Yeah, guys, this is kind of just an open discussion. I will say that Sony sold themselves short. They did not. Oh, wait a second. It has a sideways stand. There you guys go. No, okay, I'm playing. I'm kind of trolling a little bit. Yeah, I'm trolling a little bit, but that wasn't shown off particularly well. It's again, I still think that they could have maybe thrown in the stand. Not maybe, they could have definitely thrown in the stand. My PlayStation 5 is always on the side. I got like nephews and stuff that be running around. I want them to knock it over or anything. That's a very niche thing for me. But I'm also just generally paranoid because, yeah, if I pay $500 for something or $700 for something, I want it to be in the most stable sort of stance as possible. So I keep mine horizontal anyway. So I got what I wanted. A lot of people want theirs to be vertical. I get it. Space wise, it's probably a necessity for other people. So I'm not gonna by any means diminish that need for people. But seeing that is interesting. But yeah, guys, I think if they would have tacked on like 60 more seconds to their video to just quickly talk about some of these qualities, I think that the reception could be a lot better. I think like almost nobody that I've seen has talked about. I'm talking about big people getting like hundreds of thousands, millions of views. Almost nobody has talked about the extra terabyte game boost, up to 8K, Wi-Fi 7, capabilities, right? But yeah. With that, guys, hey, let me know in the comments below. I understand a lot of y'all aren't in love with this. I wouldn't say I'm in love with it per se, but I can see the difference between it and the PS5 pretty clearly to me. But yeah, if you're interested in getting one, let me know. Let me know what features you're excited about. Let me know actually down below in the comments, y'all. How much do you want this to be priced at? Because nobody seems to be, everybody wants it to be cheaper, but nobody's saying like what they would want to be priced at. I really want to know, guys, like what do you think would be a price point that you think would still financially make sense for just the quality of this thing? I'm not saying that, is good or bad quality, but just for the quality that it's at, for what it can do. How much do you think it would be like it should be sold for? A realistic business standpoint, because we all want it for free, right? But yeah, guys, with that, I will see y'all next time. Take care, be chill, and yeah, peace.